Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Yashoda Hospitals webinar series. Today we taken a very important topic, workplace conflicts. We will discuss today what is conflict, causes, resolution, strategies, and review of literature. I am very excited today to introduce our young, dynamic, eminent leader, and he is our group director. He is MD Pulmonary Medicine and Critical Care. So we are very happy to manage to get him onto the dais today with his busy schedule. So, sir, please put your valuable words on today's important topic, which we taken. He's always behind us for inspiration in academics as well as new innovative ideas. And this webinar also is his innovative idea, was that saving everyone. Thank you, sir. Just take the word.
Okay, Amar. Hope the audio is clear. Maybe you can mute a little bit, Amar.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon all. So it's a great pleasure to be here. I mean, probably this is only regularly running nursing webinar in the country, and it's open throughout the country, and actually many countries. I mean, just looking at the statistics last week or something, many people from abroad also have logged in, including US, Canada, like many countries in Africa, Asia, Singapore, Bangladesh, multiple countries are there. So that gives me great pleasure to be involved in whatever way we can, because knowledge sharing is the most important thing. Healthcare setups are different in different parts of the world, where varying from one person setup to big hospitals like us. So you have to be conscious of those. Today's topic seems very interesting, and I think Shanti or she'll take you through the like whatever was there in the literature and what are the usual causes of conflicts, and because it's an interesting topic, I hope it even in the middle of the day, 3 o'clock also, hopefully it gets your attention. So, and the only clarification here I want to make is I'm not an expert. They put me as an expert panelist here. Maybe I'm not qualified education wise for conflict resolution, but having been involved in multiple facilities as a both as a doctor and working as a doctor and dealing with nurses in multiple setups here and US and all predominantly, I'll try to share experiences. And being a director, I can self-proclaim I'm an expert. So that's for it. Shanti, you'll take it from here. What are the common causes of conflict and common solutions? Thanks.
So, hello, the online audiences and everybody else. I am happy to take you through the, the session on the workplace conflict. I'm going to discuss about the causes, mitigation, and resolution strategies. I'm Shanti Bhattacharya, the head of nursing for the high-tech city Yashoda Hospitals, and very glad to have a session with you all so that we have little glance on how to, mitigate the conflicts, because the conflicts are everywhere. So problems, nothing but the conflicts. Conflicts at house, conflicts in the workplace, conflicts in the spiritual places, offshore conflicts, in India conflicts, conflicts about the economic, conditions and everything else. So let me just take you all through about what is conflict, the management of conflict, the types of conflict, what is the workplace conflict, what are the causes, mitigation and resolution strategies. We'll have two types of, review of literature and practical tips, which is going to be very helpful for the nurses. And if I talk about the conflict theory, the origin, one has to be already there to just develop the origin. So the man behind, the politician, the German philosopher who is Mr. Karl Marx, it started in 19th century itself. And then when he could see and observe that societal issues and politic pressures were many because of the limited resources and in different other perspective. So he's the brain of conflict theory. And today we are here with a lot of conflicts in the, in this era, and let us see how do we resolve. Conflict. What is a conflict in general term? When two people or groups disagree and the disagreement causes friction and it gets resisted in the society. What is conflict management? When people's workplace conflicts are nothing but the ideas, decision and actions are in opposition. I know we have some ideas and decision, but then it has not been taken well, by other party. So when two people just do not get along. So workplace conflicts are nothing but the individual thinkings are not been encouraged. The employees may not like with each other. Anger and frustration and emotional perspectives are always dominating. So these are nothing but a workplace conflict. So types of workplace conflict is nothing but leadership conflict. Again, leadership, the policymaker decisions and the opposition between the HOD and the policymaker decision, maybe in terms of micromanagement and in terms of maybe the personality clashes, the leadership conflicts happens. And task-based, maybe the assignment of some work is given to the nurses, but it is not happening because of some problem which is happening in the scenario. And the other thing is work style conflict. Maybe you must have previous work style conflicts in your ex organization, but when you come to this new organization and the style is different, and that's how the work style conflicts between two team member happens. And then personality based conflicts, as I said, the emotional intelligence versus conflict management is a little tricky in nature. So there are a person with a lot of emotions, and that's how when they do not get well, like you see the seesaws are never balanced. So that's how the personality based conflicts happens. And creative idea conflict, maybe you're very good at giving the creativity and innovations, but then maybe it is not well addressed from the different party or the group. So that's how the creativity idea conflict starts. And then discrimination, maybe the fair versus unfair opportunities and justifications are provided to the employees or in general. So that's how the discrimination figure starts. The examples of conflicts at workplace: conflict between nurse and doctor. Hey, doctor, let's say hey, the doctor prescribes the medicine, but then it has not been documented. So nurse to a doctor, it is not prescribed. So this is a reminder which is done between the nurse and doctor, and that's how the conflict happens. Conflict between client and physician. Yes, the plan of care is not being explained to the client by the doctor. So that is how the conflict starts. Conflict between the nurse in charge and healthcare team. Maybe every morning the nurse in charge wants her ward to be neat and clean, but then every time she reminds the healthcare team for this activity. So that's how the conflict is in the atmosphere. The causes of conflicts are many, but we have few which has been jotted down, and I'm going to speak about it. The foremost is the ineffective communication. Yes, we see the ineffective communication heaps in the daily of activities, especially in the workplace, in domestic areas, and personally, it doesn't much cause a lot of problem. But yes, workplace, because we are responsible and accountable to our customer who is our patient. So ineffective communication, I get to see every day. Lots of miscommunication between the handover and miscommunication between the other healthcare team. Skill differences, we have a lot of juniors and freshers and seniors and other multi-dynamic skill nurses. So we have these girls are, if at all they are posted, and the understanding between the junior versus seniors are again taken in a different way. That is how the differences starts. Lack of clarity on roles and responsibility. Yeah, we must be very sure that we always give the clarity on roles, performing the roles, and responsibility to be taken as a part of the ownership. Personality differences and clashes. Yes, as we have a personality differences, if I am very powerful and dominating type, then we will have a personality differences, and we will rise the conflict in the atmosphere. So do the misunderstanding. Maybe the communication is very well addressed, but then how we receive in a different ways. Again, concept of misunderstanding rises in these situations. Inadequate trainings, like how to handle stress, how to behave in behavioral challenges, modifications of behaviors, everything. If at all in-house the trainings are being done, I think everybody will be able to just sober with their trainings and personality as well. Unfair opportunities, yes. Fair versus unfair. Maybe sometimes the total small percentage of nurses or other healthcare teams are not being adequately given with fair opportunities, and that's how the conflict starts. Unhealthy competitions. The competition should be always healthy. If it is unhealthy, then that's how the conflict again rises in the atmosphere. So mitigation of conflicts. Mitigation is nothing but the reduce the seriousness or severity of the conflicts. So anytime there is a conflict starts, let's say it be a nursing not properly addressing the care to the patient or not being very effective communication providing to the patient. First thing is, if at all the victim of conflict person is here in front of you, you need to always understand what is the focus and clarify. What is the what are the parameters you need to focus on and clarify. Then constructive, provide the constructive criticism. I mean, you have a mutual understanding, rapport. Let the person, frame your the idea of the clear, statement. What had happened? Listen, yes, not the lizard listening. Always a good listening. Be as a good listener and go to 360-degree investigation so that the equal justification is being given. After this, the three factors soul will not be enough. We need to always assess and evaluate so that everything works well. Now, the conflict resolution strategies, we have got 10. Define acceptable behavior. Yeah, we need to even define and coach counsel regarding the behaviors of the employees because, yes, they are with a lot of individual differences because of their personality and cultural backgrounds. Do not avoid conflict. This is foremost for all the leaders, not even leaders, for all the senior nurses, junior nurses, subordinate leaders, everyone, even including top management and everybody else who are just watching the slides and the webinar. Do not avoid conflict because the conflict is nothing but at a very acute state, it is a, it is a problem, but then again, it takes the shape of the conflict. Choose a neutral location. You need to always give a path and location where the conflict victim can just verbalize. Start with a compliment. Yes, we always see the nurse or somebody who has done the mistake or maybe non-intentionally or unintentionally she's done the error, but then always talk about her good things and then start giving her the corrections in terms of what has been gone wrong. So do not jump to the conclusions because have a fair listening and then try to understand and then take the appropriate decision. Give a very much good platform about the opportunistically parameters so that she understands or he understands. Not yes, of course, not a punitive because that's how we cannot even shape anybody. The coach and counsel always is two very important vital factors which will always guide the nurse. Offer guidance, yes, we always urge everybody that offer guidance, not the solutions. Yes, constructive criticism, yes, be clear in understanding, give a mutual conclusion so that everybody is happy towards the end. Do not fuel and frighten the those who are just a victim of conflict. Act decisively so that the conclusion goes very on the happy end. And then practical tips, these are very important. Anybody or everybody can practice this. Whenever a nurse knocks to you and says that I have this problem, always make sure that you have some time and arrange a time to talk with no interruptions. You please provide the privacy so that she's always very have a lot of confidence and she talks to you in terms of privacy. Vent about the issue, let her vent out, and for that you should also tell her that learn escalating to the matrices. Empathize before you react. You must know that what has gone wrong. So please have an empathy state, and then you can give your corrections. If the chronic conflicts are happening, like maybe due to the environment and maybe due to different SOPs, which cannot be, which a nurse wants, but then it is very good, benefit for the patients or our doctors or anything else. But we can always give our inputs, but if not, but then let the conflict go up because if no potential benefits are seen. If above all this, we all need to have a practice relaxation technique. Maybe when you have a lot of work stress or some anxiety emotions are dominating you, so oversight them and just avoid them. Just have a cup of tea, relax, meditate, go for a walk, take a long break, go for holiday, provided your leader gives you leave. Yes, of course we understand and we do give all the leaves and all other welfare techniques are done. Conflicts, sometimes what I do is conflict whenever it happens, it even did happen with me. but I take this conflict as opportunities because we encounter the conflict. When we encounter the conflict, we see a lot of the top management admins. We always have a round body meeting, and then we talk about the high end conflict issues. Then we learn. We get a lot of strategies and initiatives for that particular conflict, and so do we grow with the conflict, and we take it as we seniors should always take the conflict as opportunities. So there is a ROL, which is review of literature, which is one is again conflict management, how the nurse should practice in public hospital or in the hospitals. Like if the nurse morale is good, productivity is higher, she can always give very good productivity in terms of customer delight. But the financial and all other aspects, effectively managing workplace and other welfare techniques also is a very contributing factor. The one more literature is the role of emotional intelligence in conflict management. I mean, this association between the emotional intelligence versus conflict management is very important. Otherwise, the patient, the nurse, and the employees will continue to contract the occupational stress. So, in a nutshell, 10% of conflicts are due to a difference of opinion, but 90% are due to the wrong tone of voice. Yes, I do agree, because I do also have this kind of scenario, problem. So I urge everybody to just not to, have such a tone of voice should be always, reframed whenever you have a conflict. So there is little 3 to 4 nutshell parameters, which is nothing but effective conflict resolution skills to maximize the benefits of nursing, which in turn benefits the patient as well. If there is a conflict, so the nurse is not going to be happy. If the nurse is not happy, the patient is not going to be happy. So we need to always take the maximum benefit from the nursing and the nursing care. Assessment of cause need to be addressed, as we have already dealt with the previous slide. While planning resolution, understand the wants. Every employee or every nurse or every person will have the kind of wants. They always undergo through some kind of work feelings and other perspectives also not to be ignored. Finally, evaluation of result is necessary to complete the process. So hereby, I would like to thank, and one more end note I would like to say that conflict cannot survive without the human, support. So, and the conflict happens in the brain and hearts of the mind. It doesn't rise in the hilltops. So thank you for the forthcoming webinar. Also, we'll be presenting the general topics away from. We are taking you away from the medical topics, and we're just trying to talk on the just a general topic. If at all you would like to just put your any topics in a chat box, we will be happy to take that forthcasting webinar. I thank Dr. Pawan, and over to you, Dr. Pawan or Dr. Amar.
Yes, Shanti, that was a great talk, and it takes courage to admit that sometimes we are wrong, including the tone of the voice. Okay, great. But 90% of the time you are doing good. So that's a wonderful point, though. So if you aim for 100%, I think you're bound to be disappointed. I think life is not perfect. So 80-90%, I think we have to take it there, and just a few words, whatever I can think of is, yes, conflict, I think it is universal. Based on my personal experience also, I did MBBS in Osmania, and after that general medicine in Manipal. And then after that, I was in the US for 10 years or so. I was resident in Michigan State, New York. I was doing a pulmonary critical care fellowship, and I was working in a remote, in a smaller town in US Market, Michigan. One universal thing I found everywhere was nowhere life is perfect. So both here, US, even after coming Africa here, like multiple places, I think, so what I'm also realizing is if you aim for 80 to 90%, I think then satisfaction will be better, and that in turn decreases conflict. Conflict is universal, because I think the only way there will not be any conflict is if we are like completely submissive and allow people to do whatever. I don't think that is good too. So maybe it's nature's protective mechanism. So conflict itself is a reaction to unmet needs and all. I mean, that is not wrong, but But on the other hand, like just like anger, passion, multiple things, too much of anything is bad too. Like too much of conflict. So imagine nurse, doctor, administrator, nobody gets along with anybody. Patient first time walking to the hospital, they are not aware of what kind of stress nurses or what kind of resources hospital has and all those things. And they themselves are in a stressful situation. I mean, they will not definitely want to come to hospital willingly just because they need it. Hospitalization, they are coming. So I think for the patient's sake, more than anywhere else, conflict should be minimized because they are not pure voluntary, out of their voluntary interest, they're not coming to the hospital. They have a need to come there, and there we have to be extra cautious to not, whatever the conflicts we have, we should not try to take it on the patients. Because sometimes patients themselves also, I mean, coming, because it's mainly aimed for the nurses we are talking about, but in general, it applies for all workplace, I think. But here, being a nursing webinar, common day-to-day things is, yes, sometimes patients also may be unreasonable. Like they may be shouting, they may be crying, they may be even violent also, sometimes physically violent and all. But you have to take it. The patient have, I mean, just like customer is never wrong, patient will never be wrong because I mean, they're in the hospital because they're not in a perfect health, and we have to take extra efforts for patient wise. Though I mean, physical violence against patients is definitely 100%. Nowhere it is tolerated, even verbal also. Yes, if we do have issues, we have mechanisms to cope, but it will be never reciprocation, like shouting on the patient or being in a violent confrontation with patient will never be accepted. That is anywhere in the world, I think, as far as I know. So, and then and a few other things like conflicts. First of all, for all those audience who is logging in and whoever is on Zoom, Pratyusha, Shanti and all, feel free if you have any questions or anything, Amar, and please try to look into our Facebook chat to Pawan. If anything is there interesting, please interrupt and keep asking those questions. One of us will answer to our best of our ability. We would like to have interactive sessions. So this is just off topic because I mean we can keep subjects. I mean technical issues, even that is going on, but too much of technical issues will be boring too, I think. So sometimes we need a little lighter topic. So I mean it's completely free, and also for the audience, if you do want any kind of topic also, like in going forward in the future, like whatever interests you, you can do it in the Facebook chat or something. So we'll look into all the comments. We may not be able to answer everything right away, but over the period of week or so, we'll look into and we'll get back to you. If any topic interests you, either technical or non-technical, or if you wanted to know how to enjoy life more, happiness or whatever else also, we are okay to talk any kind of topic. So audience, if you have any questions and if any interesting thing is there, Amar, Pawan, Pratyusha, Shanti or anything, if you notice anything, feel free to jump in and we'll try to discuss. So, and coming to the, sorry, I'll just finish this thing. In my experience, just 1 second, we'll get back to questions and later. So, in my experience, at least, I think conflict, you would think number one cause of conflict is maybe nurse against doctor or maybe nurse against administrator. But my guess is it is mostly with your colleagues. Most of the comparison, jealousy and all these things happens with your immediate colleagues, siblings and these kind of things. So she got less number of shifts, I got more number of shifts, or I need to do this kind of work, or even I'm working so much and not getting appreciation and all those kind of things. First of all, you have to accept that this is a natural process of life. Just like siblings, colleagues and all, few people may get appreciation a little more financial or other things. Also maybe a little mismatch may be there. So you have to be conscious first when you are having conflict. What are the common causes of conflict? In that, number one would be immediate comparison with colleagues, siblings and also. Yes, if it is persistent and all, I'm not saying not to ignore the cause of conflict, but you have to make a note. And what I found useful was instead of reacting immediately, no, why should I do this long shifts or whatever, particularly during COVID times. Here and outside, like one nurse has to look care of 7 patients. Yes, that may not seem fair. Usually it is 1:2 and all patients are, everybody is busy and you have to take multiple, and nobody seems to be doing their job and all, and colleagues seem to be getting less and all. That kind of thing may be there. But is it, first of all, you have to take like a pause and think, is this fair or not fair? And if it is a one-off event like work stress and all, yes, maybe it will pass. So after 2 months, your same people after 2 months, oh, okay, why was I behaving like this way? Is what you may think. So just pause and think back. I mean, in 2 months, if it is lesser, will I do it that way? So temporary things we have to try to tide over. Majority of the time, if you give a little time, instead of thinking why everything should happen to me only, why I'm not getting the appreciation, not getting the promotions, why am I getting all these things? But in that same moment, I'll also request you to just look at your like you're in a good position also, you're in a good status of the society. Many people would be will be more than happy to be in your place. Like even now in the country and all, a lot of poverty is there outside, and here and other countries, like poverty is there, and many places you still don't have full physical safety. Even the basics of life also, if you look into many of these literature, I mean news and videos, or even if you go outside also, working many fields like agriculture, or if you don't even have a proper job and all that kind of you don't, many times many people don't even have access to enough food security and those kind of things. And medically also, like just look at your patients. Sometimes young patient, 20-year-old may get diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Somebody may have paralysis, just fell down from somewhere, and 20 years quadriplegia. What should they be thinking? So why is life so unfair to me? So if you just look at things, then it will keep in perspective. And I think that helps majority of the time. And if you give some time and think over multiple things, but it is still bothering you after say 1 month or something, yes, that may need a resolution. And you should never be scared of expressing. I mean, you should never be submissive, and submissive in the sense like you should not accept any unfair things. At least I believe that. So there is a proper mechanism to escalate, but it doesn't happen as often as you think. Not every day, like you're upset and need to resolve it right away. No, it is persistent, grossly unfair and illegal things. 100%, nobody should, and nobody, at least here, definitely will not accept anything like that. So, but there is a proper mechanism of escalation. Say if you're not happy with the patient, yes, you cannot obviously shout to the patient. You can talk to your colleagues. You can talk to whoever you are comfortable, your friends, colleagues, supervisors, nursing supervisors, and then there is admin too. So these kind of things will help mitigate. And if it is some work stress related things causing conflicts also, because extreme stress at work also, we'll try our best to mitigate the circumstances. I mean, we'll always be looking. Dr. Amar is here, Shanti is there, all of our nursing heads are there to look into that. We'll definitely always try to decrease the stress. But sometimes, like just like in COVID times and all, when we are overwhelmed, those kind of things also, we tried our best to motivate people. You know, you have to motivate your colleagues. A few other things off topic is some things which decreases, like Sandhi says, like going to movies, vacation, if you have time and if she gives permission. But at least simple things in life also, even a 5-minute break, just go outside and see the world. It is not crashing if you don't do. Life will go on. Okay, then you'll realize and come back, and maybe physical exercise, going to the movies, reading some books and all, because overall you have to be happy, because once your mood is not good, it creates conflicts. at family, number one, next with colleagues, next with supervisors, next with doctors and everybody else, or with patients also. So we have to analyze the root cause. And if it seems like you're having conflicts with family, with colleagues, with supervisors, with everybody, if it is seeming conflict with so many people, usually it means that maybe the issue maybe with us also. If your conflict is only, on the other hand, it's only localized to particular person, setting and all, then that needs resolution. So anyhow, in my limited experience and all, practically what I found useful was, first of all, knowing that the conflict is universal. Life it would be great if it was 100% perfect, but I think it's only 80 to 90%, and sometimes it feels like entire world is against us, and it will lead to conflicts multiple places. But that's not our personality. Just take a step back and look outside and inside. Is there an issue with me or with the other people? And then take opinion from neutral people. It doesn't mean you need to go to me or supervisors or anybody, like just somebody you trust, like your friends who you can talk to normally. Just go and ask them, do you think the issue is with me, or is it the world or somebody else? So I think if you're convinced with everybody, then escalate to the next level. But this is not like, I'm not suggesting that's the exact pathway you can go. Whoever, you can directly come to the top also. But anyhow, these are what I thought was practical. But Shanti's slide set is also there if anybody wants to have it. If you're having issues, so what exactly to do, that you can take a moment and try to diffuse the situation, and then coolly analyze, and then how to escalate further is that's the next point. I forgot one more mitigation. Maybe you can just you can take a pillow and write the name of the person you don't like, and and then you can have a session with them, so for your satisfaction. And there are I heard like there are like clubs like this in Japan and Korea and all, where you pay and go there, and you can take your revenge on whichever pillow or whatever you want. So that will not cause harm to anybody. Okay, great. Yes, Amar, you had something or any?
I was just hearing to you, Dr. Pavan sir, and here I would like to add on saying even to my nursing viewers that how multiple times when Pavan sir has already, has got a tremendous knowledge and, ability to understand people. So he have a lot of times he had even in the past, he's used a lot of humor in, terms of, clearing the conflict which I was, going through. So that's how I think everybody should use the sense of humor. And as he said, a lot of pillows and the other techniques which is happening in the Japan, I think we also should have from the total number of pillow requests we're going to put, so that we will just give to all the nurses, including the HOD, so that we can just have our all anger management on the pillow. So thank you, sir. Always I was convinced the kind of justification and fair opportunity you provide to me, because 2 times I have already personally, or I mean the work related front.
As long as it doesn't cost us extra in my admin hat, these things are useful. Yes, humor is one good way to, I mean, it's very, very hard to be harsh against a person who will be trying to smile at you and all. Like, even if you are in a very bad mood, the other person is smiling at you and all. That's a good way to diffuse many situations. Yes, Amar, you had something?
Sir, we had one question. I think they're convinced with your even day-to-day scenarios, how conflict management had to be done. They have been resolved.
Okay, looks like some technical issues. Shanti,
you correctly said.
Okay, Amar, looks like there is some technical issues your side.
How to reduce it, how to work out. And yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dr.
we are
Shanti, you
facing
can
this
continue.
technical issue, and let's end up the session, I guess. And thank you, and thanks to all the nursing viewers. Please coach correct counsel, and do share, like, and share your likes, and sharing is nothing but caring and guidance as well. And be safe, and be conflict free. Thank you.
Conflict free is not possible, Shanti. So 80% decrease conflict is fine, I think. Completely conflict free is not possible, and maybe it is not good also. So,
Yes.
but yes, for the patients though, yes, it should be conflict free though, because it's not their voluntary choice that they are coming to the hospital. You have to be even you have to take 2, 3, 4 times extra effort. First of all, patient, yes, there should be no conflict for the patient side. Yes, other things and all, you have to, first of all, try to analyze what is the cause of conflict. It may take some time, and yes, know that it cannot be 100% avoided. But if we try to decrease anger, jealousy, and all these associated things, I think chance of decreasing conflict is there. And because it's important not only for career and all, but just for peace of mind, because if you need to, because the only thing which is important in life is not the wealth and all, how to increase your happiness. So if you decrease conflict, I think happiness increases, and I think that's crucial. And workplace is where you spend half the time. So and this may carry on to the family time also. So yes, we have to try to have a clear-cut strategy to mitigate conflict, which will help your, first of all, your health, your well-being, and then yes, your financial growth and everything else in life also is better if you are happier and decrease conflicts. But at the same time, it's not avoidable fully though, so we have to deal with life. Okay, great. So I think we thank all the viewers from wherever who have logged into it. If we missed any answers and all, we'll look into the Facebook chats and we'll get back to you within the week. And feel free to be more interactive. There is nothing like we have a fixed topic of which topic comes up and all. We are completely open to interaction. I request all the nurses and all it will not cause any conflict if you ask for some topics or something. So please do participate and type in whatever you feel through our social media platforms or directly, or you can even send to WhatsApp or other direct message or whatever thing you're comfortable. But do speak up and ask for what you want, and we'll try to.
So if you give me privilege of typing, then I would like to type and say, well, would you, sponsor the free trip to offshore for all the nursing leaders of Yashoda?
Why only leaders? The nurses are the on-ground people are doing the real work. So they'll feel they'll have more conflict if only the leaders go on vacation. So no, that is not granted. Sorry.
Not good option. Yes.
But on the yes, something actually for the most part, vacations and all just beside off topic, but people think that okay, if I go to vacation and all, everything will be perfect. No, actually, it is not true. So the happiest time when you are is not on vacation. After you go somewhere in between flights and all, there will be some cancellation of flight or something happens. There is off cycle timings, no sleep, kids crying or whatever, and whatever you expect in that perfect picnic spot, too many people may be there or too less may be there, and something may go wrong. So only the anticipation of
Yes.
travel. So okay, next Friday I'm going on vacation. So you're happiest on Thursday. Physically going on vacation, the happiness decreases, and by the time to return back, it will maybe go down more than go below the baseline. So just like only I'll enjoy after retirement, again, that is also not a proper coping mechanism. So you have to think about minute to minute, hour to hour, and day to day, because that is the most important thing. Every day you have to go and working also in US and all. The most depressing part of the week, because weekends is off, Saturday and Sunday is off. You think it is Monday, but no, it's actually Tuesday, because Monday is at least you get some energy after those 2 days. But Tuesday is the most depressing time, because I think the weekend is again too far, and now I'm too tired. So that's so there is no universal solution. So we have to look at day to day, minute to minute. It may be very small things which actually increase our mood and happiness. Small things like, okay, today I can go and go for a run or something, or go for a movie, or smaller things, or punch a pillow or something like that. Those give more happiness than big vacation, because that big vacation may give only 2 minutes happiness, but it will cause disappointment to afterwards, rebound things. So happiness is also fixed. So yes. Okay. Anything else, Amar?
Sir, you made this today's topic with keeping day-to-day scenario, with explaining this conflict management. Hope our nursing team enjoyed today's session, and we'll implement it day-to-day, and the conflict at the nursing level especially, it will come down, because we take it and we will implement it, sir. And thank you for giving valuable time and putting so much valuable words. Thank you, sir. Any questions, Sir Shanti? It is not showing anything, Sir Shanti.
I'm done with. I think we have
Yes,
the time bound. The session is coming to an end, and I thank from heartfelt thanks from all the nursing fraternity to Dr. Pawan and to you as well.
Yes.
And we are looking, much more session like this lively, so that we all interact and nurses understands the common scenario about the personality management. Thank you so much.
Nice presentation, madam. Your side also. It was a very good, concise presentation, and we'll definitely look into it and we'll implement it. Thank you, sir. Pawan, sir.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
That's one thing I wanted to clarify from next session. So the slide set and monologue will only be 10 minutes or so. Rest of the things we would like to have more audience.
More interactive sessions.
And
that's what I was time bound. So thank you.
Sounds good. Okay. Have a good one. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.